Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stats podcast, where today we're going over UFC Paris Gane versus Spivak. First things first, make sure you give this video a like, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There is the Stats and Stats podcast. Again, always a super quick overview. We fucked up betting Kinoshita. I don't know what we were thinking. It seemed like a lock. Billy Goff is not that good, but he just came through and it was awful. Other lock hit just fine. Both the over unders hit, and then one of the dogs barked. So at the end of the day, we went 4-6 on official bets, and we only missed one other actual bet. There are 14 fights. We got 11 right. So I mean, it could have been one hell of a night, but the ones I was most invested in, did not pan out. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. There are a lot of heavy chalk, and we try to stay away from the chalk. And honestly, there's more chalk this week, so be cognizant of that. A lot of minus 300s all across the board here. So this is going to have to be a heavy parlay. It's going to be a heavy parlay card if you want to make any decent money. And it's tough, man. It's going to be tough because someone is going to fuck it up. And it's a matter of avoiding the landmine. Who's going to be the one to fuck it up? But at the end of the day, it's a decent card. It starts early again, not 5 a.m. early Eastern like last week, but it is still at like noon or something like that. So make sure you're up, make sure you're ready, and make sure you already gave this video like a listen. You're tuned in, and let's make some money here. So let's go ahead and start with this very first fight of the night. Greece, right off the fucking bat. We have Zara Farron, plus 295, going up against Jacqueline Calvacanti at minus 375. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5, under 2.5, both a straight pick 'em. Let's start with Zara Farron because don't forget that this fight is in France. You're going to see a lot of European fighters here. And that's probably the only reason Zara Farron is on this card. But she's 6-5. And she's about as good as her record shows. She has pretty good striking. It's actually underrated. Her striking's good. But she's old as shit. She's 39 years old. Jesus, I didn't realize she was that old. Yeah, she's 39 years old. She has terrible takedown defense. Like it is god awful. And on the ground, it's even worse. Like she's very bad on the ground. Like she has no idea what's going on. In fact, when you look at her two losses in the UFC, she was taken down and beat the shit out of by Felicia Spencer, and she was taken down and triangled by Megan Anderson, and that's a terrible look because Megan Anderson is an Australian kickboxer, so she shouldn't be taking you down and triangling you. So like Zara Farron has no idea what's happening down there. She does start off well. Like she does look fine on the feet. It's just with her being so old, she does gas. Again, she's a one-dimensional striker. She's super old. She's huge. Make sure you watch these weigh-ins because she never makes weight ever. You see a lot of canceled fights in here, and a lot of that is because she didn't make weight. Like she has a lot of just issues with this weight cut. So just make sure you keep an eye on that. And the other thing is, she used to fight at 145 a few times. This fight's at 135. So you really have to pay attention because there's a chance that this fight doesn't even happen because she just doesn't make weight, to be honest with you. On the other side, yeah, we have a huge favorite with Jacqueline here. Jacqueline, again, I don't know if I trust a debuting women's MMA fighter at minus 375. Not something I want to do. Also, because she's only 5-1. She's very green. She's 26 years old, but she just turned 26 like this month. So she's realistically about 25 years old. And she's a slow starter. So that's the thing. I noticed in all of her, I watched every single one of her fights because there's only 6 of them. She does start a little slow, gauge how you are, gather your rhythm, and then kind of take you out. So Zara Farron, again, a very fast starter and slows. Jacqueline, the complete opposite, very slow starter and then picks it up. She has good striking herself. She loves to move forward. Her cardio seems to check out. She throws a ton of combinations, which is nice. It's just she's taken this fight camp on kind of short notice. Zara Farron was supposed to fight Haley Cowan originally. And Jacqueline keeps her chin way up in the air when she's striking. It's nice that she throws these 5, 6, 7 punch combinations, but when she's doing so, her chin is way up Driscus Duplessis style, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't know, man. This is a weird card. Jacqueline should go out and absolutely start her. Yeah, but again, Zara Farron, yeah, she has 2 losses, and they're both she got finished in both. And then she lost to Josie Nunez, which isn't a great look. Josie Nunez is really a flyweight trapped in a featherweight's body. I don't know, man. Zarafan has the UFC experience, and just the overall fighting experience, but maybe a little too much experience being 39 years old. Jacqueline has all the potential in the world, but do you want to trust this line with her being 26, making her debut? Only 6 pro fights and almost minus 400. No, I don't want to touch either. Do I want to trust the over under? Not really, because if Farron gets down to the ground, she can get starts right away. Or Cavalcante just come out and destroy, or Farron can come out and just kind of do work again. She starts fast, or the opposite. I don't know. We're all over the place. I don't like this fight at all. This is a total pass. But I'll go ahead and I'll pick the young girl and Jacqueline. And I guess the only way to bet that is going to be a lot of chalk with her. I don't feel good about it. No, this is a complete pass. If anything, you can't trust her here. You cannot trust her at minus 375. I would bet fair, to be honest with you. Or I would live bet. That's what I would do. Again, Jacqueline's a slow starter. Zara's a fast starter. Go ahead and live bet Jacqueline after round 1 if she's still sitting around there. And that's the way to approach it. So the pick is going to be Jacqueline. The bet is going to live bet Jacqueline after round 1. All right, that takes us to the next fight of the night. We're looking at Farid Basharat as a minus 325 favorite. Got a lot of minus 300s. Going up against Clinton Rodriguez at plus 260. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 200. Under 2.5 at plus 150. Let's start with Basharat. I got a lot to say about Basharat because he's a good fighter. He's 10-0. Obviously, his older brother Javid, my guy. Also, these guys are just good. They're training at Extreme Couture. He throws a ton of volume. He has really good jiu-jitsu. He has good wrestling. He has good striking. Again, undefeated. Only 26 years old, but again, training with absolute killers at Extreme Couture. And let's be real, he's been fighting his brother since he came out the womb. He seems to have good cardio. He has a 4-inch reach advantage here. Like, there's nothing but good things to say about him. Maybe outside of like his competition, like he's fought who he could along the way. It's a little sketchy. You got 0-1 and 3-1s and 0-3s. Then you hit him he progressed nice. So you had a 16-8 that he took out. You have a 6-4, 7-1 on the contender series, and then Damon Blackshear his last fight. That's a really good win. Aged very well. So he has only fought like 3 credible guys, but he only has 10 career fights, and he's training at a good spot. So he did what he was supposed to do. You can't really complain here. On the other end, you have Clinton Rodriguez. Another young kid, man. He's only 27 years old. He throws a ton of volume as well. And he's wild. He has that capoeira like striking style. He trains over at Team Noguera. Really unique and good striking, really good jiu-jitsu. His wrestling's okay. I'll probably say Basharat has the wrestling edge here. My biggest thing in this fight is you have prospect versus prospect. I do think Rodriguez is fast. I think he's head and shoulders faster than Basharat. So that could be a little bit of an issue. My only problem is I've seen him slow down in fights before. I saw him slow down in fights. I saw him slow down in the oh god, I guess I'll just look at it. What's the guy's name? CJ Vergara fight. It says split decision loss. I think he won that fight. I think he got screwed. It was in CJ's hometown, but it shouldn't have been that close with CJ. But yeah, he beat CJ and Shannon Ross, who are both flyweights. He continually missed weight, never made 125. He always came in over and heavy. And in his last fight, they wanted to give him Tatsuro Taira, do a little prospect versus prospect, but they were trying to push Taira. He missed weight so badly again, they had to cancel the fight and move Taira to a different card. So the UFC is just fed up with this guy. He's had 3 fights in the UFC. He's missed weight for all of them. So what did they do? They make him go up to 135. Is that going to be better for his cardio? Possibly. Is it going to be better and make him look better, not draining himself that much to make 125? Probably. Is he going to be even faster at 135 than he was at 125? Probably. Honestly, the move to 135 might be a good thing for him. But is he good enough to take on Basharat? I don't know, man. I think Basharat's the real deal. I'm going to go ahead and side with Basharat. I think the striking's pretty equal. I think the jiu-jitsu is pretty equal, but I think Basharat has the 4-inch reach advantage, the better wrestling, and the better cardio. So I'm going to have to side with Basharat here. And the pick is going to be Farid. The bet is going to be Farid Basharat. But again, you're going to have to parlay him in some shit because he's minus 325. Next fight of the night is one that no one should parlay with anything. We have Nora Cornell at minus 105 going up against Jocelyn Edwards at minus 115. Over under. I actually don't have an over under for this fight for whatever reason right now. I want to say it was like minus two something to the over. I don't. God, actually, they did just change it. I'll pull it up, but either way, you don't really want to touch this fight to begin with. It's a trap. It's a landmine. Stay the hell away from this fight. It's greasy. Let's start with Nora because she is the hometown girl here. Nora seems to have some sort of Muay Thai background. You can definitely see it in the picture here. That is definitely a Muay Thai getup. And then in regards to the over under, the over 2.5 is minus 165, under 2.5 at plus 130. That's interesting. Might take a stab at. Honestly, I don't know which one because Nora has good striking. She's gonna be the French, and she's gonna be the girl that the crowd's gonna be behind, considering she's from France. It's just her fight IQ, man. I've seen her drop for toe holds. Like her jujitsu's okay. I want to say she has a win or two by sub on her record. Rear naked choke. Yeah, so she has a sub on her record. But this one fight in particular, the fight against, where is she? Priscilla De Souza. Priscilla De Souza is a tiny, tiny girl who has zero striking whatsoever. Again, Nora is a Muay Thai striker. She prefers to be on the feet, but what does she do with the little girl that she has a huge reach advantage over, the big striking advantage over? When they hit the mat, she goes for a toe hold with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. The only thing Souza could do was try to submit her because she's a black belt. He spent the whole fight trying to get her to the ground. Yeah, she's playing footsie with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I don't like that. That really gives me really questionable just fight IQ on her end. Yeah, dude, I don't have a lot to say about her. She's 34 years old. She is not a young prospect at all. Again, she's only in the UFC because this is in France, to be honest with you. And they're trying to give her at least a winnable fight. They might have done so. I don't know. Jocelyn Edwards isn't very impressive or imposing either. Edwards is pretty decent striking herself. She prefers to strike as well. So at least it's a striker versus striker matchup. Edwards has been in the UFC for quite some time now, and she throws a decent volume. I do like that, but her wrestling is questionable, man. She does not have good takedown defense whatsoever. Also, the win she has in the UFC haven't aged well. Lucy Pudilova is not that good, and she won a split decision that no one thought she won. Jin Young Kim is not that good and has since been cut from the promotion. She won a split decision that was kind of questionable. Ramona Pasquale no longer in the promotion. And she actually got hurt real badly by Ramona, like multiple times in that fight, but she was able to soldier through and get the win. But again, Ramona's not in the UFC anymore. And Yanan Wu, she went out there and beat. Yanan Wu is the only person with worse wrestling than her. She was the most physically unimposing figure I've ever seen in the UFC. She went out there and handled her. Those are her wins in the UFC. So she has 3 wins of people that have been cut from the promotion, and then she has 1 win that no one thought she actually got the job done in a split. So very, very questionable wins. And her losses, Sarah Alpar, not a good fighter. I know that was LFA, but it was right before the UFC, and Sarah was in the UFC and has been cut because she's so bad. Carol Hosa is actually good. I'll give her Carol Hosa. And Jessie J. Rose Clark is not good, has also been cut from the UFC. So yeah, she's fought nothing but people that are getting cut, and her record is not that great in those fights. So yeah, I don't know. It's Edwards looks like she slows down a little in her fights. Cornell looks like she gasses in her fights. I don't know. Both these girls are awful. They both need to be cut from the promotion, but at the end of the day, there has to be a winner. It's going to be a sheer dog or pass, and the dog is the hometown girl, so maybe the crowd will try to sway the judges a little bit. We'll see what happens. So the pick is going to be Edwards. The bet's going to be Cornell just because she's literally from France and it's plus money. That's the only reason. Next fight of the night is one I mentally circled. I thought I was going to be on one side after fight tape. I actually flipped to the other. We have Angelusa at minus 180 going up against Reese McKee at plus 150. Over 2.5 minus 140, under 2.5 plus 110. Let's start with Reese McKee. Because I feel bad for the kid. I don't know what the fuck he did to the UFC that they hate this man so much. He's only 27 years old. He has nothing but potential. But the kid's schedule in the UFC is insane. Angelusa is a good fighter that nobody knows. Alex Morono is a very good fighter and ranked in the weight class, and Hamzat is basically the uncrowned champion. So, yeah, those are the guys that he has fought in the UFC and or are about to fight. He only has 4 career losses. And again, two of them are in the UFC against ranked opponent, so not really any shame there. He has pretty decent striking. He's pretty good on the feet. His cardio is pretty good. His cardio checks out, to be honest with you. We just saw him put down Justin Burleson in the third round. We saw him get a win over Jim Wallhead in the fourth round. Like he's there to fight the entire time. He's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage here, which is super nice. He has really high volume. Everything is good. Problem is, his takedown defense is a little questionable. I've seen it look okay against like doubles when he knows they're coming. Otherwise, it's if you can chain takedowns together, you can take him down. He'll stuff the initial takedown, and then after that, he has no other line of defense. He's a little hittable. For someone that prefers to strike, he sure does get hit a shit ton. We saw Alex Morono piece him the fuck up. The jiu-jitsu isn't really that great, to be honest with you. I don't know, man. He doesn't have good takedown defense, and he's hittable. And if you do get him down, his jiu-jitsu is not good. Like there's a lot of red flags here. He's a good striker. He has good cardio. He's just slow as shit and has some pretty big deficiencies. On the flip side, we have Angelus. Angelusa also has high volume. He has good cardio himself. He also is a little hittable, to be honest with you, but part of that is because of the people I've watched him fight. Pretty good schedule. I mean, AJ Fletcher is not the worst fighter. We saw him fight Jack Della, which is obviously a good fighter. Munir Laziz is okay, and he took that fight on short notice. Don't forget that. He went out there and took the L, but he gave Munir everything Munir could handle, and he took it on very, very, very late notice, like across the country. Across the world. So there's not much you can do there. John Howard is a UFC vet. So he's fought some pretty decent competition along the way. He trains at Kill Cliff FC. So he has training with the Gilbert Burnses and the Christos Giagos, the Michael Chandler. It's like he's training with a good group of guys. And he'll mix in a takedown. He is not a wrestler. We saw him use it a lot in the John Howard fight. He took him down a ton. But outside of that, like the AJ Fletcher fight, he would randomly take him down. Jack Della, he tried to shoot a takedown randomly. Like he just he lulls you into a striking battle, and then he'll try to win minutes at the end and go ahead and get the takedown. He doesn't hit that hard. I'll give him that. That's part of an issue. So Reese is going to be there in his face nonstop. But and is probably he's fast, man. He's going to be a whole hell of a lot faster than Reese. He's probably the better striker. So I don't know. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be Ange. At first, I was like, no one realizes how good Reese McKee is. But then I went back and I watched the tape, and no one realizes how good Angelusa is. So I think we're actually getting a gift of a line at minus 180. If it was Reese McKee like plus 250, I'd be Reese all day. Take the value. Minus 180 on Angelusa. It's because they don't know. Y'all must have forgot. So the pick's going to be Angelusa. The bet's going to be Angelusa. And then the next fight is where the craziness starts. We had a fight with Taylor Lopoulos versus Muin Gafarov. Muin fell out. So what they did was we also had a fight with Kolian Loughran against oh god, what's his name? Here's the name. Yanis Gemery. They took the Loughran and Jeremy fight and kept them both on the card, but Jeremy's going to go up a weight class to 145. And Loughran's going to go ahead and step in and fight Taylor Lopoulos instead. So you had 3 guys on the card. Sorry, you had 4 guys on the card that needed fights, and they just kind of did some mixed matching to where everyone could stay on the card. Because William Gomi also missed out on his with Lucas Almeida. So it's real confusing, but at the end of the day, Terrelopoulos was originally supposed to fight Muin. Muin's out. In comes Loughran. Let's start with Loughran because this dude's trash. He's very, very cocky. He's one of these guys that you want to see just shit kicked out of him. He's a young kid. He's only 27 years old, and he kind of acts that way. He's very immature in there. He's in there talking shit to you the entire time. His striking's pretty decent, but he had some defensive holes. Offensively, he has some nice hands. Defensively, he gets cracked all the fucking time. He's very hittable. He shows good jujitsu in times. He does a lot of very good transitions on the ground. But my concern are the people he's fighting. I've never seen anything like this. Like when you look at his professional record, he beat Reese Street. Reese Street's record right now is 0-31. Like that's bad. That's one of the worst records. That's Jay Ellis level bad. I was like, maybe his next fight will be fine. Because I watched that one. I was like, that did look a little easy. Let me watch his next fight. He fought Will Cairns. Will Cairns is 0-39. What? What is going on here? So his guys put together were what, like 0-80? What are we doing here? We're sorry, 0-70. Those are his first two fights. They were a combined 0-70. Like that's very, very concerning. He then fought Daniel Lopez, who at least had a few wins. He was 3-5, and he's like, that might have been a little too risky. So let me fight someone that's 0-0. But I don't want it to make it look like I have a cupcake record here. So let me fight someone that's 1-0, undefeated versus undefeated. Like this guy's record is sketchy. His best win is probably the one in Cage Warriors against Dylan Hazen. That fight was close. It was a brawl back and forth. And I'm pretty sure Dylan came up a weight class. So I don't know. This guy's fighting guys. He's fighting guys that are smaller than him. He's fighting guys that have never gotten a win. He's fighting guys that have never had an MMA fight. This guy's schedule is very, very sketchy. His wrestling, not that good. People think his wrestling's good. It's not. It's really sloppy. He's just very short and stout and compact. He has a wrestler's build, but he doesn't really know how to use it. So he's tougher to take down because he's so short in stature, but his wrestling offensively is not that good. And the thing I hate most about this kid is his fucking stance. He just stands there and this weird karate parry stance thing where he just stands with his hands up and freezes. He's literally frozen. He doesn't move. He just stands there with his hands in front of his face like that. And then he wants to counter you, or I don't know what the fuck he's doing. It's very strange. It's very peculiar. I don't want to see it in the UFC. We're gonna see it on Saturday, and I hope someone he gets the crap kicked out of him for annoying me the way he fights. It's the most stupid striking I've ever seen in my life, and somewhat effective for whatever reason. But it's one of a kind. I'll give him that. I just wait till you see this thing. He literally just puts his hands in the air and freezes. It's awkward. On the other side, we have Taylor Lopoulos, who is someone the UFC has had their eye on for a while and have been trying to get a fight for a while. Poor guy is going to cancel fights left and right. He's supposed to fight at the last Paris card against Khalid Taha. Khalid Taha couldn't fight. He's supposed to fight the aforementioned Muin Gafarov. That fight didn't come to fruition, and here he is again on a second Paris card where they're trying to get him a win. I mean, he's a good striker. He's fought a pretty decent schedule, beating guys like Josh Hill. Josh Hill is good, man. People don't realize how good Josh Hill is. Wilson Reese is a pretty decent win. Just looking at the records, a lot of undefeated guys, 24-11, 11-0. He's fighting some Nate Manassas in the UFC. Knocked him out that age as well. He's a really good fighter, man. He's done a lot of good things. And he's not a young prospect. This dude's 31 years old. So he's predominantly a striker. He has okay takedown defense. His jiu-jitsu's it's all right. It's not that good. It looked real sloppy when I did see it in like one fight. But I'll tell you what, he's French. He's gonna have the crowd behind him. So you have a young 27-year-old cocky shit who just freezes with his hands up, and then you have a hometown killer who has been trying so hard to get into the UFC. And he's finally getting his opportunity. So I'll go ahead and I'll take that guy. I'll take the guy that's fighting people that have been in the UFC or are currently in the UFC over the guy that's fighting people that are 0-70 to start his career. So the pick's going to be Taylor Lopoulos. The bet's going to be Taylor Lopoulos. I don't have an over under here. But it doesn't seem like it's a crazy line. The line I saw at least on some offshore sites, because this fight was just added today. I see minus 160 for Taylor Lopoulos, and I see plus 140 for Colin Lafren. So I'm hoping those numbers are right because I will be smashing Taylor Lopoulos. Next fight of the night is more sketchiness and more big favorites. We have Morgan Cherie at minus 340 going up against Manolo Zucchini at plus 270. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 plus 100. Under 2.5 minus 130. The reason the over 2.5 is plus money is because of Manolo. This guy's crazy. He's absolutely crazy. He's 11-3. And he just goes out there and tries to kill you. He's only 26 years old. He's trained at Jackson Wink before. This dude is predominantly a striker. He wants to just go forward and throw haymakers. Literally, his takedown defense looked absolutely terrible. His just cardio in general didn't look the greatest when he was pushed into a later round, into the third round. And his schedule level of competition not that good. I mean, 12-12. He lost to a kid that was 5-0. We had 2-1, 3-1, 4-0. He lost to. We got knocked out by. He got tapped out by someone that was 5-5, 7-5, 5-2. Like these guys, 6-6, is it? 8-6. Sorry. Yeah, no one notable on here. And these records are atrocious. This guy doesn't even have a Tapology page. So very, very concerning schedule of competition. And the way he fights, he's someone you don't want to bet against though, because he just goes out there and he fights for your money. He goes out there and swings, swing and bang, baby. The technique falls out the window. Wrestling, jujitsu, none of that matters to this dude. Go out there, pressure forward, swing with reckless abandonment. That's scary to bet against. Should we do it in this fight? Probably. Morgan's good. Morgan's also making his debut, just like Manala. And Morgan's pretty polished. He's 18-9-1. And a lot of his losses are just because he doesn't throw. He is very, very low volume. And he is the French guy here. He has a nice nickname in The Last Pirate. It's kind of funny. But he's only 27 years old. He'll have the crowd behind him being the hometown guy. His striking himself is good and has a ton of knockouts on his record, and he looks clean on the feet. His striking defense is a little questionable. He can get hit. He's pretty hittable. But his cardio checks out. And his wrestling isn't good, but he will mix it in from time to time to try to steal a win. Same with his jiu-jitsu. His jiu-jitsu is not good. It's not bad, but it's serviceable. So all in all, this guy's pretty much a generalist, but he's clean, man. His technique looks great. He just doesn't throw enough. It's very, very low volume, and it's concerning. So, someone that wants to pressure forward and take your head off going against someone that doesn't want to throw anything, it kind of makes you lean toward the Manolo side. But Manolo's cardio and his takedown defense, you can't trust that. So the pick is going to be Morgan. The bet is going to end up probably being Morgan, or I'll probably take the under 2.5 at minus 130. Kind of cover you on both ends. If Manolo goes out there and clips him, cool, you had the under. If Morgan goes out there and just counters him as he's just swinging like a berserker and puts him out, you hit then too. So the under 2.5 is probably the way to go in this matchup. Next fight of the night, we have one of the men I'm trying to fade the most in the UFC. We have William Gomes at minus 270. That just sounds gross. Going up against the aforementioned Yanis Jeremuri at plus 225. I don't have an over-under here yet, as again, this fight was just moved around and announced. Let's start with the hometown kid and William Gomes. Gomes sucks. He's not good. Gomes is not good. He might end the crowd behind them, maybe not, because Jeremuri is also from France. But Gomes, 26 years old. God, that's about all the pros I have. This guy's not good. His wrestling's okay. His striking's okay. He's very, very fast, twitchy. Like he is fast in there, but he hates getting hit. His reactions anytime you touch him is ridiculous. You can go out there and just like tap his shoulder and he's falling over and running away. Like he does not like getting hit. He's a skinny little thing, and if you touch him, he freaks the fuck out and backs up. But that's the problem. He fights like that. He'll throw a jab and he'll literally be backing up as he's throwing the jab just to get the fuck out of the way so you can't return. But he's low volume in doing that. He's very, very low volume. His wrestling's fine, but his top game isn't that good. So you can just kind of pop back up if you want to. And again, his striking, he's very fast, but it's not good. It's not crisp. It's not technical. I don't like this kid. I don't think he's UFC caliber. I think he was brought in to fight in the last French card, and then he won. And they gave him another fight to lose. Francis Marshall did not bring his lunch pail that day, and he lost. A very weird fight, by the way. Like, you could have scored that for Francis Marshall, but that fight was terrible. So this dude has effectively had two fights in the UFC where he threw basically nothing, averaging like 1.96 significant strikes per minute. Like, he does not throw. He'll get an occasional takedown, but he took down Jared Aarons. Jared Aarons has zero takedown defense. He's literally rocking like 25% takedown defense in the UFC. So is that impressive? Is he going to be able to take down his opponent? I don't know, because the only thing is this fight's at featherweight. This Yannis guy is a total badass because he was scheduled for this card and said, fuck it, I'll go up a weight class and fight Gomi. Like, there's a reason he chose Gomi. Like, Gomi, he's also from France, so he's definitely very familiar with William Gomi. He's only 28 himself, so he's not exactly an old guy here. He's making his debut, but he's pretty much a generalist. His jiu-jitsu's okay. His striking's okay. He prefers to counter himself, so I don't really like that dynamic because again, Gomi is very fast. When he throws his jab and runs away, he's very hard to clip when you return. So that does concern me a little bit. But the Gomi takedown is probably not going to be existent. I think Jemmery's actually, he might be the better wrestler, to be honest with you. I saw him use it. And if he wants to offensively use it, you can, because Gomi's takedown defense isn't that great either. He doesn't like getting hit either, though. Neither one of these guys like getting hit. So I I might have to take a peek at this over since they both flinch every time they get hit. But they're both from France, so it should even out here in regards to like crowd reactions. I don't know. This He can be kind of low volume too, now that I'm thinking about it. Here's the difference though. William Gomi is plus 270. Or sorry, minus 270. Yannis Jemmery is plus 225. The guy that may be the better wrestler, he's just making his debut. The guy that may be a better striker, he's just not as fast. And then he is the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's plus 230 almost. Yeah, you got to take that. So the pick is going to be Yannis. The bet's going to be Yannis. I'm really getting like Sam Patterson versus what's that guy's name? I'm getting Sam Patterson versus Yanol vibes. The short little stocky guy coming in and just blasting the guy that can't take a hit. Like I'm kind of feeling it. So I bet on Yanol. He was like a plus 200 dog and came through. I'm going to do the same here. So it's going to be the pick is going to be Giannis. The bet's going to be Giannis as well. Then that takes us to some of the big boys here. We have Volkan Ozdemir, no time, minus 185 going up against Bogdan Guskov at plus 155. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 is plus money at plus 100. Under 1.5 at minus 130. Let's start with the devil we know and Volkan Ozdemir. Volkan, he's kind of on the decline, to be honest with you. He has good striking. He is rocking 80% takedown defense, but that number is skewed from the Paul Craig fight. Paul Craig went like 0 of 12 on takedown, so that number is a lot higher than it should be. The Vulcan's hands are fast. That's what he relies on. He says no time as if he's some sort of potent power puncher. He's not. He will take your head off if you're chinny, but if you're not chinny, he's just not going out there and starching everybody. He has a tendency to start slow in a lot of his fights, but his last fight against Krylov, he came out like a berserker and actually started real fast and almost put Krylov out right away. So I don't know how much merit there is to how fast or slow he starts. But he's fought a good schedule. Again, he fought Krylov, he fought Paul Craig, he fought Magomed Ankalaev, Yuri Prohaska, Alexander Rakic, Daniel Cormier, Dominic Reyes, Anthony Smith. Like, he's fought really, really, really. He's a cream of the crop at light heavyweight, to be honest with you. All of the top 10 guys he fought. He hasn't beaten all of them. In fact, most of his losses are to that top 5. But he did get all the way to a title fight once where he also got killed. So I don't know. It is what it is. He also gassed out in that fight, so you do have to watch his cardio. His cardio did not look good in the last Krylov fight either. So you kind of see good Vulcan and bad Vulcan here and there. And I think part of that is because he's so old. He's 33 years old. He's starting to slow down. Some days he's feeling it. Some days he's not because of his age. I mean, shit happens. I understand. I'm 30 and I feel like my body is breaking down. So fighting professionally at age 33, trust me, Vulcan, I get it. But I don't really want to trust him with my money. Not as a favorite, at least, unless I have a really, really good reason. And I don't, man. Bogdan doesn't seem terrible. He's not good. but he's not bad. He's himself is 30 years old, so he's kind of late to be making his debut, but he's 14-2. His striking is a little robotic and a little slow. I will say Vulcan is the faster hands, but Bogman has a ton of power. When he hits you, the lights go out. He carries his hands very low. He's very confident, so he's a little hittable himself. And he has 2 losses, and he has been finished in one of those. He got knocked out in 3 minutes with those low hands. So I don't know if that woke him up and realized I can't do that anymore or what his deal is, but it is what it is. He's fought some pretty okay competition as of late. Uh, yeah. I mean, overall, he's fought decent guys. He's over at good promotions. Brave is a really, really good regional promotion. Nothing but legitimate guys coming out of Brave. Like Hamzat came out of Brave. That guy that's about to fight Nasruddin Imavov came out of Brave. Like pretty decent guys coming out of there. So a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. He has good jujitsu, sneaky good jujitsu that you don't see often because he's out there starching everybody. When you look at his last string of wins, I mean, knockout, 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 all in round one, by the way. Knockout, knockout, knockout. And then he has a triangle choke back in 2018. So that's nice. He also has, okay, he has 2 wins in triangle 18. 2 wins by submission in 2018. But again, back to knockout, knockout, knockout. So 18-1 in regards to a sub prop isn't bad, especially because I think he's a brown or black belt now. So he is actually quite legitimate on the ground, and Vulcan has nothing on the ground. But he's going to try to knock him out. He's going to go out there and try to put his head off. All in all, I will go ahead and pick Vulcan just because he has the UFC experience, and you never know what version you're going to get. But in regards to a bet, I think I'm taking the dog here. I think he can actually put Vulcan away, whether it be by sub, whether it be by knockout. I think he has a legitimate chance here. And he's a finisher. He's just a fucking finisher. He can do it either way he wants. And you got to take the plus money there. So the pick's going to be Vulcan. The bet's going to be Bogmed. Let's see if he's real or not. Then that takes us to just more Greece here. We have Thiago Moises at plus 130 going up against Benoit Saint Denis at plus 155. Over 2.5 is plus 105. Under 2.5 at minus 135. Listen, the god of war, Benoit Saint Denis, is trash. He's not good. I don't care what anyone says. I know he had a good win his last win. He's not good. His striking's bad. His strike is not that good. His defensively is awful. He gets hit all the time. His cardio, questionable. Very, very questionable. We saw him gas out in his debut against the Santos. And in that Gabriel Miranda fight, he went into the second round. After round one, he was a little tired, to be honest with you. He went out there and got the win early in round two, 16 seconds in. I know Gabriel was tired, but let's not pretend like Benoit Saint Denis was not tired in round two. So I've seen this man in round two a couple times. He also looked a little tired in the Nicholas Stolze fight. Every time I see this man in the second round, he looks tired. This last fight, he looked very impressive, got it done in round one. Okay. So we have no idea what would have happened with that fight. His jiu-jitsu is good. His jiu-jitsu is actually legitimate. I'll give him that. But and they'll have a 2.5 inch reach advantage, which is nice. I love the pressure that he does going forward, and the biggest thing of all would have the crowd behind him. It's just watching this guy slow down in all of his fights and the level of competition. Gabriel Miranda is not good. He was a short notice, late replacement. He wasn't supposed to be in the UFC. Before the UFC, he fought in Brave. That's good. I just talked about how much I like Brave. But he's fighting against it at 38-34, 9-5, 2-0, 4-0. Maybe the competition is not that bad based on where he was. But honestly, he's not good. I don't like him. He can't strike. Everyone talks about how legendary, durable he is. The ref should have stopped that fight. Yeah. And if the ref would have stopped the fight like he was supposed to, as he was wobbling all across the octagon, you wouldn't say how tough and durable he is. You would say, damn, he got knocked the fuck out. Because he did. He did. He was out on his feet multiple times. This man's cardio is and his durability is not legendary. There was just legendary bad decision making on the ref's part. The ref wanted to see a murder. That has nothing to do with Benoit Saint Denis. He was not going out there to go out there and get the win. He was going out there trying to survive at that point, legitimately. So I don't want to hear about this man's durability. He should not have been getting beat that bad to begin with. Like that. At the end of the day, that's You if you're described as a tough guy, that means someone's beating the shit out of you, and I'm not betting that. Good news for him is that he's fighting Thiago Moises that can't beat the shit out of anybody. He has pillow fists. His striking is not out there to hurt you by any means. He's a grappler. He's a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and that's what he's good at. He's 28 years old. He has really good jiu-jitsu. His wrestling's okay. It's not good. It's not bad. It's all right. His striking is improving. He has a nice jab. Okay, he has no other strikes. He can't kick. He doesn't throw any hooks. He doesn't throw any combinations. His jab is nice. He has a real nice jab. Are you knocking anyone out with that jab? Fuck no. But will he dance around and just jab you to death until he can get a takedown? Absolutely. His volume's a little low. I'm not a fan of that, but part of that is because the judges sometimes see a jab as a significant strike, sometimes they don't. The biggest problem with him, sorry, and Moises does have a good schedule fighting like Bobby Green, fighting Joel Alvarez, even fighting in his last fight against Melquizael Costa. Melquizael showed how good he truly was in his next fight. Crystal Chiagos is a good fighter. He went out there and finished him in round one. He fought the champ Islam. He fought Alexander Hernandez. He fought Michael Johnson. He fought Kurt Holobaugh, Damir Ismagulov. Like he's fighting all these really really good guys. So it is what it is. The problem is with him, besides his zero power, is his chin, and he's a little hittable. His chin is not good. He gets dropped all the time. It's not a good look. I usually want to fade that thing, but Benoit is not a good striker. So could Moises go out there and jab his face all day? Yeah, he could do that for 15 minutes. Could he go out there and take down God of War? I don't know. His wrestling's not that good, but neither is Saint Denis. Neither one of these guys are that great. They have a lot of big flaws. I think the line is off, though. I think this line needs to be a pick 'em. So because there's plus money on Moises, they're forcing my hand to bet it. So the pick is going to be Tiago. The bet's going to be Tiago. I don't feel great about it, but Benoit sucks. So does Tiago, though. All right, next fight of the night. We have the co-main event. We have Manon Ferrot at minus 185 going up against Rose Namajunas at plus 155. Over under not showing on this one right now either. I can pull it up for you real fast. But let's go ahead and we'll start with the over under. Sorry, I'm pulling up really fast. It is over 2.5 at minus 210, under 2.5 at plus 160. Yeah, that's about right. It's probably going to decision, to be honest with you. Manon Ferrot is a decision queen right now. All her wins in the UFC, she went out there and knocked out Mazerat Ruiz like she was supposed to. But outside of that, sorry, she knocked out Tampa Ricci like she was supposed to. My apologies. Outside of that, I guess Victoria Leonardo in their first fight. Outside of those two, once you got better competition, Myra Bueno Silva was a decision. Jennifer Maya, decision. Caitlin Chukagian, decision. Like she's going out there and just kind of outpointing girls at this point. She can do so because her striking's really good. And her wrestling takedown defense 83%. It looks really, really solid. She has really high volume. She's super jacked and scary looking, but she doesn't hit that hard. She kicks hard. She kicks real hard. Doesn't hit that hard, so not a ton of knockouts here. The crowd's gonna be way behind her. She is France through and through. It's their number one women's fighter. Honestly, if she wasn't fighting someone like Rose, she would probably be main eventing. So the crowd's gonna ooh and ah every time she throws a punch. So maybe they'll convince the judges that she's swinging harder than she really is. But the thing I like most about her is that she'll mix in her wrestling and time it very, very well. She is not a wrestler at all, but she has a pretty good sneaky blast double. She does it right at the end of the round over and over and over. She hears that 10-second clapper, she's shooting a double. Her corner tells her she has 1 minute left, she's shooting a double. Her jiu-jitsu is questionable, and I think that's why she waits until the end, because she just wants to survive for those last few seconds while she's on the ground, but she wants to score too. She's not going out there to finish anyone. She goes out there to score, and she seems to keep doing that. She essentially looks like she keeps getting wins doing it. She has not lost in the UFC. In fact, she has not lost since her very first MMA bout. And that was sketchy, to be honest with you. I think she's undefeated, but it is what it is. All right. Her opponent, on the other hand, we have Rose Namajunas making her triumphant return in a new weight class at 125. And I don't know how I feel about that. She wasn't the biggest, like absolute biggest straw weight. So to come up a weight class, I don't know what's happening there. Um, at the end of the day, she has good striking. She has good jujitsu. She has a great strength of schedule. My problem with her is that she has 60% takedown defense. So if Manon wanted to do her classic takedown with a few seconds left, she definitely could. Rose has sneaky power, but I don't think it's going to translate up at 125. And Rose gets hit a bit. Like she gets hit a lot more than you would think. She likes to move forward, and she's better when moving forward. But again, Manon's going to look like 3 weight classes bigger than her. Like she's going to look much, much larger. She's going to hit much, much harder. And hopefully, she's going to be able to take those shots extremely well. 83% takedown defense, and Rose isn't a great wrestler. So this is probably going to. Rose is really good cardio, like great cardio. She has a cardio advantage, but Manon can go a hard 15. 25 Manon might scare me a little bit. 15-minute Manon, not so much. So if Rose can't take her down, and this has to be a kickboxing affair, you have a world-class kickboxer going up against Rose, up a weight class. So I'll take the huge kickboxer. So the pick is going to be Manon, and the bet is going to be Manon, because I think this is a stand-up war, and I think Manon is just head and shoulders better. Manon by decision is also plus 130. You might as well take the plus money. I don't see her knocking out Rose. And then that takes us to the main event. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like, hit the subscribe, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, or over on YouTube, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There is a Stats and Stacks podcast. We have Paris Gane as a minus 165 favorite going up against Sergey Spivak at plus 140. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 at plus 125. Under 2.5 at minus 160. Let's start with you know what? Let's start with Spivak. Spivak's good. Spivak's someone that I initially came in thinking I was going to bet. He is good wrestling, very very good wrestling, good jujitsu. His striking's okay. It's not good. It's not bad. It's kind of there. He just has a jab that's nice. His schedule's good. He's fought some really good guys. He fought Tom Aspinall. He fought Derek Lewis, Augusta Sakai. He fought Marcin Tybura, Tai Tuivasa. Like all these guys are in the top 10 in the weight class. It has a lot of wins over them. My problem with him is that he's never done 5 rounds before, to my knowledge, and now that I'm looking at it, he's never gone 5 rounds, and his cardio is questionable. He doesn't gas, but I saw him slow down a little bit in the uh Alessio Oleinik fight. I saw him slow down in the Carlos Felipe fight and the Marcin Tybura fight. Like I've seen him slow down multiple times in the third round. So I know he's training for 5 now. Maybe he has 5 round cardio, but if you make him work, he does slow down. The other thing he seems to struggle with are athletic strikers. Tom Aspinall, very athletic, very fast, and was able to put his lights out. Walt Harris, very athletic, very fast, was able to put his lights out. So it's not like the Derek Lewises, even though they hit hard, Augusta Sakai's, Greg Hardy, even though these guys hit hard, he's okay. He's able to evade, he's able to get the takedown, he's able to do his work. But if you're really fast twitchy and you catch him before he gets a chance to set up his takedown, he seems to struggle with that. He doesn't like athletes. That's all Gane is. Gane is an athlete. Gane, I don't know, man. Gane is really great striking. He's originally a kickboxer. He's also has the crowd behind him. He is the #1 fighter from France right now. So he's their guy. He main carded the last event in France. He's in the main card this one, or main event this one. Jiu-jitsu's okay. People overhype it. People hate on it. It's okay. His cardio is actually surprisingly good. He'll have a 3-inch reach advantage here. Great schedule, being the former champ. Throws a ton of volume, but you're going to hear it over and over and over. 45% takedown defense. That's concerning. We saw Francis use it. We saw John Jones use it. So what is true is, because if this stays on the feet, Cyril Gane is going to absolutely kill Sergey Spivak and knock him out. If Spivak is able to get Gane to the ground, he's probably going to kill him and probably be able to get a submission or a ground and pound finish. So what do you see happening? Which one is going to happen? This is the definition of striker versus grappler. But the grappler has worse cardio, so I started to lean Gane, and I think we're getting a huge discount on him. But then I watched Sergey's takedowns, and he throws a lot of tips, a lot of trips and weight distribution. And I remember an interview I watched with Dustin Poirier, and he said the craziest thing about Habib was he knew where to put his weight to make sure he always had the advantage. That's kind of how Spivak is. And as much as Gane wants to train double leg takedown defense and his sprawls and his single leg defense, Spivak's gonna hit him with some weird shit he's never seen before. Like Gon, yeah, he might be able to stuff every double Spivak throws out there, but when Spivak goes for a lat drop or something like that, he's gonna confuse the shit out of Gon. When he goes for an inside trip from a 50-50 position, like he does a lot of throws and fancy stuff that you probably shouldn't do in MMA, but he's getting away with. If there's ever a man to get away with a pretty sketchy wrestling wrestling procedure, it is definitely Gon. Gon has no idea what's happening on the mats. And I don't think it's going to get much better. He himself has said, I do not train unless I have a fight. I do not train year round. So in his little fight camp, what has he done in regards to wrestling? I don't know. I saw Francis whoop his ass with wrestling. I saw John Jones not break a sweat with wrestling. Spivak is not a John Jones. Uh, but he is better at wrestling than Francis Ngannou, and he can wrestle multiple ways. And I don't think Gane's going to be ready for that. So I keep thinking it's a buy low spot on Gane. I keep saying I'm going to bet him, but I think the public Spivak take is the right one. You always take the wrestler versus the grappler. So the pick is going to be Gane. The bet's probably going to be Spivak. And that's UFC Paris Gane versus Spivak. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok. Get winning tickets, and let's get paid, baby. Let's get it.